And this is Ed, and here you are again in the studio of Global TV Talk Show. I'll get out of the way. And with us is Fabienne Jacquet, an author and trainer, a consultant, all about personal branding and personal branding, right?
It's innovation. I'm an innovator at heart. It's my DNA. I'm sure we will talk about the way I'm reinventing my life, both professional and personal. But innovation is really who I am, an innovator.
Well,
I
that's
like
great.
it.
Well, Mark and I have known each other 20 years or so in business, originally from Newport Beach area,
Hmm.
and in the transportation and real estate business industry, focusing in on um, some of the world's smartest doctors and medical researchers, helping them relocate their offices and brain tissues and other sensitive products across the country, across the world securely. And about 20 years ago, Mark uh, was attacked by Parkinson's
Ah,
and still has it. But he has written two books, Mark, and he's
Two
been
books.
on
Yep.
TEDx
great.
speaker,
That's great.
and he's a motivator, and he's been my star on a medical TV show that the two of us began a few years ago called To Life with an exclamation point.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome again, Mark. I'm going to admit Philip Berry. He's just come in
All right.
and we'll get him involved too. We are recording. And hello,
Hey,
Philip.
Philip.
Welcome.
Hi, Philip.
1 minute.
There he is.
There he is.
Oh my God, it's so good to see you.
Hi.
Yeah.
Okay,
All
good,
right.
good.
Yeah. Adjust your camera. There you go.
Oh, there he
Yeah,
goes.
right,
Or,
right.
He's got some
or,
hydraulics in there, I think.
so are you adjusting your camera or your seat?
No, I did my camera.
Oh, because you're going up and down.
Oh, yeah, no,
Oh,
no,
okay,
that's
me
the
too.
seat.
Let's all do that.
That's the seat. That's the
You have to
seat.
move anyway, it's good for the body.
Nice.
So we've been quickly getting together here, and we're on live TV recording right now.
Oh, great.
So Fabienne just held
Oh,
up her book cover. Why don't you do that again?
okay.
Yes.
I just have to do one other thing here
Yeah,
while I'll be right back on it. That's
yeah.
fine.
So Venus Genius.
Yeah, the female prescription for innovation. And I'm talking about the importance of having a balanced energy in innovators. Because so far, innovation is really handled like business with the masculine energy of return on investment and let's do it and more and more and more. And I was just like, let's connect to our feminine energy with traits like empathy, collaboration, intuition, gratitude, and especially at the beginning of the process of innovation. At the end, it's nice to have the masculine energy and make things happen. But at the beginning, we really need to understand the consumer's needs. We need to be intuitive, need to be creative, collaborate, and so on. So this is the entire book. It's not men versus women. It's really the feminine and the masculine energies we all have in us, and we're all on the spectrum. I got a lot of masculine energy I narrate in the book.
Well, I don't know what to say to all that. Let's see.
I have a lot of feminine energy. And it's good. And it's good that we're all balanced because
Well,
no sense.
it's beautiful. Bring it on.
Oh,
So
that's great.
personal branding. I have been guided and mentored by Philip for a long time, and so I get it. But a lot of people out there don't understand it and don't think it matters, but it does because it's how, according to Philip, how the personal brand meshes with the professional brand to create the beautiful you or the terrible you. But let's talk positive.
Which is beautiful.
So, how do you measure your personal brand, Fabienne?
I think there are obvious signs like my energy, my bubbly energy. When you talk about the visible signs, don't laugh, but my lipstick. This is me because I'm a little bit bold. I love the colors. I love joy. I love, and beauty. And so these are little things like that that start with the brand. So the bold colors, the patterns, the joy, the bubbles. This is the outside. And as I narrate in my new book, it's being who you are. And I'm this bubbly, smiling personality, and it's difficult sometimes to be who you are in a very corporate and serious world where everybody, and Philip, knows that, wants to behave, have a corporate attitude and be serious. And I mean, like, oh, you smile too much, you laugh too hard. And I'm just, this is me, and this is who I am, and I bring my unique self and my unique gift. So this is how I see personal branding. Have the courage to be who you really are and bring what's unique to the table.
Yeah, all right. We're joined by two people here. Ken Lloyd, Dr. Ken Lloyd is in LA.
Thanks,
Meet
Ken.
Fabienne Jacquet. And you already are familiar with Philip Berry and Mark Colo. And also in the studio, but not yet on screen, is just a wonderful guy, an author, John Verrico. John, you're welcome to join when you're ready. We are talking live here on Global Business News TV Talk Show Network. That's a mouthful, isn't it? But there's like 2.6 million out there who will see this recording in subsequent days and weeks. That's the Anchor network that I've been fortunate to develop using YouTube, of course, but more so, and especially LinkedIn, that's really where the business community resides. And all of those connect through my RSS feed out to Apple and Spotify and other things. And we also have a Facebook group and some other minor distributions, but it's really the LinkedIn business community that we're talking to here. Ken, thanks for joining us. What's happening?
Yeah.
You recovered from the election?
Very interesting. It's an old Chinese curse. May you live in interesting times. And we certainly do.
That's great. John Verrico, if you want to join us, please speak up or send a message to everybody. I welcome you. Okay, we're talking about personal branding. What is it? Philip, please take it from here.
No, good. Thank you very much. And I'm going to just see if I can set up.
And Paul Falcone is joining us.
Oh, Paul, that's great.
Okay, welcome, Paul.
Can you hear me?
Yes, and we see you.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
Paul.
Good.
Hi,
Paul
Paul, how are you?
Falcone. Paul Falcone is an author of was it 17 or 18 books now?
17 books. Yeah, very
Wow.
good. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's great. And it's very, very well known. Even these books that were written a long time ago, they're still selling, thankfully. And like 1001 Things to Not Say or to Say in difficult situations.
Close
It's-
enough. That's right. That's right. 101 tough conversations to have with employees. Right. Good, Ed. You were close. It's
Yeah, right.
give and
Well,
take or zero.
Ken and Paul meet special guest Fabienne Jacquet, who's an author.
Pleasure to meet you,
Book.
Fabienne.
You're welcome to hold
Yeah.
up that book cover again. Venus Genius, which means a woman is a genius.
The
Excellent.
feminine energy we all have in us.
Yeah, all right. So Paul is fortunate and really happy to announce that he is on the board of the American Management Association and also HarperCollins Leadership Series. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I write for both HarperCollins Leadership and for the American Management Association. So thanks, Ed. Thanks for the plug.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that everybody knows that Dr. Ken Lloyd and Philip Berry and Paul Falcone and my friend John Verrico is now going to join us. These are all authors also. And when I sent around the bio stuff, I built a website with a picture of your book and your headshots. I got all these people who want to join. And so I said, yeah.
Good.
So welcome again, Philip Berry.
Okay, good. Thank you so much. So what I'm going to do, Fabienne, in terms of why are we here? I've known Fabienne Jacquet for a number of years. We worked at Colgate-Palmolive together. Yeah, and she's has been one of the leading marketing people within Colgate, and also she also is a scientist. So she's not just an individual who is markets, she understands how to produce products. And she's originally from France. I mean, I met her in my assignment when I was in Paris. But moreover, I'm going to do an intro to why this whole issue of personal branding and rebranding is very important. And then Fabienne will follow through to go through some in-depth pieces of not only her present book, but also another book that she has. And like myself, Fabienne has been an expatriate, and so when she talks, she'll be able to speak to how that has informed her professional perspective and how it has enabled her to be a great marketer and innovator of brands. And after I speak, I want to go through some pieces where I'm going to talk about what I'm calling the professional rebranding cycle. And what's interesting is that many people, they are so fixated on branding. However, when you are going through a change and transformation process, what you want to do is to look at how you rebrand yourself so that way you can align your reputation and image with and goals with aspirations that you might have for moving forward. And what I want to do, I'm going to tie this also into how AI and innovation can enhance your process of moving through developing your personal rebrand in 5 critical stages. So I'll go into that. And then after I speak, what I'd like to do is to let Fabienne speak. Like we have until like 1 o'clock. And so I'll let Fabienne speak, and then we'll be able to go into in-depth questions and Q&As, if that's okay.
Yeah, I just want to say use the chat, everybody, to share contact information and ask questions. Okay, let's
Right.
go.
So I'm going to talk about this from 5 stages. And, it's always important to have a process. Some people look at this whole issue of personal branding or rebranding as something that's just based on your subjective approach to what you're doing and how you're doing it. But there actually is a process, just like anything else. And so I'm going to go in depth into some of these processes, starting from the point of a self-assessment, execution, market relevance, how you differentiate yourself, and storytelling, and how all of those pieces fit together. And they are extremely important components of any process that individuals have in terms of moving forward. And one of the things, since I have been the VP of Human Resources over 60 countries at one point in my time, HR organizations over 60 countries. And because I have moved people to a number of those countries and also have been able to help individuals in their career choices and aspirations, and as they planned on how not only they would improve the business, but also how they improve themselves, so that way they can make a contribution that was going to be relevant. And so I'm approaching that from this particular perspective. And the first part in terms of self-assessment, is having individuals really identify what is their core, and being honest about their strengths and their values and their purpose, because that really lends itself to being able to determine where you are now and what you want to transition to. You can't do that without a really clear assessment of where you are now. And naturally, there are a number of psychological assessments and values that I use to help individuals in their process. And also Fabienne will talk about some of that from the standpoint of how she uses those type of strengths and assessments in what I'm calling stage one to move forward. Identifying more specifically what's unique about you. What is it that you bring that's different than other people? So many people are able. It's so interesting. I interview a number of people, and they're able maybe to talk about their strengths. However, they're not able to position it to say, what's different about me? How am I head and shoulders over others? And then when I look at the strengths that I have in terms of behaviors, what are the values that are driving that? And how is my purpose being transformed and moved in a different area that helps me to be using as a foundation for change? But change is the important piece in this whole equation that people don't think about. And so looking at enhancing our this understanding of self-assessment through AI assessments is something that we'll talk about, how you can do that. And then from the standpoint of the stage two is, well, what's the relevance of who you are to everything that's going on in the world? How can you identify what the shifts are that are in the market and the trends where, matter of fact, AI is a big trend right now. And since I started in the computer area working um, at IBM, I was able to develop a high degree of technological comfort, with changes that were always coming about. I was always in an organization that was changing. And so being able to stay abreast of what those changes are and understanding what the needs of the audience are, if you're marketing to people and wherever your market might be, as societies have begun to change in their core, from a standpoint of the strength of the demographics that are taking place in different countries and different regions, the needs of individuals change. And so how are you as an individual being able to adjust to that and to market yourself? And how can you benchmark using AI? How can you use AI to help you to identify what the gaps are that are out there and what opportunities that might exist in order for you to move forward? And so this is how you enhance your understanding and use AI not as a threat, is not a threat, but as a tool that can assist you in moving forward. And then what you want to do, because there's so many people who are in the field of whatever field they happen to be in, the lawyers, doctors, engineers, the HR people, what you want to do is to differentiate yourself, because it's a crowded marketplace out there. A number of people that call themselves the same thing, but then how are you able to clarify and showcase what's unique about the value proposition that you bring and what you bring to the party, so that way you're not an also ran, but you are head and shoulders over others who are out there based upon the work that you do. One of the things that I did, and when I started in the HR area, I started domestically, but then when I moved internationally and helped to develop in the say in 1989 and in the 90s, when the emerging market was really beginning to change, and you had countries and throughout Eastern Europe and throughout Africa and throughout Latin America, new industries coming into play. And so there was a need really to differentiate and to develop new unique skills and to differentiate myself from others who would be in the marketplace. And what that does is that when you see how you can put all of that together, then you can think about, well, what really makes you different and what's unique and what sets you apart from other people. I have always established my brand as an individual who is very global and has a very, very specific and unique global perspective from other people who are in my field. One of the things, matter of fact, I've just done, this is sort of a breaking news type of a thing, with the book that I have on terms of how you can be embedded and you believe. I just was able and got licensing to develop the book in Spanish and also in French. So you will, if you go on Amazon, you will be able to see my book in both of those languages. Yeah, and so that's very unique because a number of people focusing on the domestic market, but then what are they doing globally? How are they really positioning themselves on a global basis? So that way you can reach out to new people and younger people, older people, people who are trying to change and shift the way they're focusing. So that's one of the things that I'm doing in terms of providing a unique perspective. And then what do you bring to your, and what are some of your proven results? And that's why when Ed will ask the question, well, how do you prove what you're doing and how do you measure it? Well, the one thing that I'll be doing is continuing to measure that my work based on how many people I'm really able to have gravitate to some of the concepts that I have. And naturally, I'm not going to stay at those two languages. As I'm starting here, I'll be going somewhere else after that, so that way I have something that I can play with in other areas. And then in terms of the storytelling, and here, Fabienne especially is going to be able to bring some really unique perspectives in terms of how you're able to tell your story. Everybody needs to have a story, and we are able to position our story in different places. Many people don't think about that. They're rerunning old movies. They're not telling a new story. There's nothing new that is forecast, and so with the story that they have, it's old news. One of the things that Ed has done with the business that he has is that as he has moved it into the area that he's in, he has been able to tell a new story when he looks at global HR news and also where it's positioned, the audiences that he's approaching, and how he's able to identify what works for him and what he thinks can work for others. So being able to be very
Thank you.
clear and authentic about that is how you look at how you can have facts that are created so that you have a memorable experience, and using AI and all of the other pieces and with LinkedIn and Facebook, all of the other modes of introduction are important. I'm also going to be looking at another mode of performing and telling my story a little later. Not in this session, but I'm working on something, and that will be new news that I'll be able to talk about at the beginning of the year.
So, Philip, thanks very much for mentioning my upskilling and reskilling. It's been out of necessity. It's not something I was dreaming up. But, I want to make sure you all know about Paul Falcone's. His background is immense, going back years as head of HR. And Paul, please correct me if I get this wrong, but head of HR for Paramount Pictures and the network of companies related, including Nickelodeon Animation. Is that right, Paul?
Almost. Yes, head of HR for Nickelodeon Animation and head of international HR for Paramount Pictures. So I reported into someone who was responsible for global HR, but I was head of the international piece. And we had Europe, Asia, Latin America at the time when I was overseeing it. So you were very, very close. That was a great job. Thank you.
I'm repurposing my brain here.
Right. So what I'm going to do, I have just maybe 2 more slides to show.
Yeah.
And then what I want to do is to move into Fabienne, so that way we can continue with a robust discussion. And stage 5 is the execution stage. I already identified 4, and that having consistent action that demonstrates your brands through your behaviors. We are what people see, not what we say we are. is the important thing to think about here. And then
Uh-huh.
also, how can an individual continue to be more strategic in what they're doing in terms of presenting their brand? And then how can they reinforce the value of that through results and getting impacts in different areas?
I just want to say that one of my favorite slides of Philip Berry's is the picture of the lion looking at himself and who he thinks he is, and in a mirror, big mirror, and what is showing is a pussycat, not a big
Yeah,
lion.
exactly. Yeah, definitely. From a standpoint of rebranding, the looking at doing a type of skills analysis is important, doing benchmarking, and also doing generative AI in terms of developing narratives and visuals and roadmaps that really bring life to your brand so that, just as Ed was just describing, a picture that out of the whole presentation that I might have made with that ad set full through, but it was that picture that speaks 1,000 words. And that's one of the things that we have to think about as we're using AI. And then thinking about the last piece on this, is the rebranding journey really starts now. Individuals need to assess where they are today, identify market opportunities, define their unique value, a compelling story that they're going to stay with, that's going to stay with them forever, and then how they can execute with consistency and visibility. And these are some of the things that I talk about when I sit down with individuals in a session in order to help them to identify where they are now and where they want to go. And this is a copy of the book that I have, and also how you reach me. And what I'd like to do is to move this discussion to a point where Fabienne can build into this. And then what we could do is we can have a great conversation, if that's okay. If it's okay, if I can move from this, and so that Fabienne, I want to give Fabienne the time so that way she'll be able to present. Okay.
Okay, Fabienne, I invite you to use my screen share.
Oops.
I don't know what what is that noise? Okay, apparently it stopped.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So I don't have any slides. I do it a cappella.
Oh, I love that. That's rebranding.
Yeah, I'm from Toulouse, south of France. So, like Toulouse and the tenors and the opera and so on. So I definitely can do that, I guess. I wanted to reflect on something that Vera said, which is very important. We are what people see. I narrate in my new book, when you try to understand who you really are, and we'll elaborate on that, but expatriation is actually a catalyst to understand that. And I did a lot of things. Phil, you're familiar with all these personality tests, and some are good, some are not really, really very good. And one was called the animal print. And this lady is based on your numerology, on your date and place of birth. And she gives you your personality according to animals. So you have a print, and your different aspects of your personalities are through animals. And the way people see me, I'm a bison. So not violent, but I'm very assertive. I know what I want and so on. At the beginning, we were talking about energies, this masculine energy that I have because I'm a scientist when you didn't have a lot of women at that time. And I was brought up between two brothers. I was in the corporate world. So I have to fight with masculine energy. And this is how I survived in that world. And so this is what people see. And then my soul animal is the honeybee. So honeybee is collaborative. It works hard. It has fun. It's joyful and so on. So this is just to illustrate what you said, Phil, what you want to project. And this is why I decided that, yes, I could be assertive, but I needed to have my true personality shine through, as I said before, this bubbly, joyful person. So I just wanted to elaborate on that because I think this is something very important that we tend to forget because we know we feel who we are, but we don't realize how others see us.
Good point.
Okay, so now a lot of things you said in your in your speech, Phil. Identify the strengths. Okay, so what differentiates me in terms of my branding? I always introduce myself as I'm half French, half American, half scientist, and half marketer. I know, too many halves. But as we say in French, when you love, you don't count. So I think this just captures who I am. The diversity, the joyful, the humor, because life we have to it's serious, but we have to take it lightly. And I think that in these days, people talking about the consumer needs, people need a little bit of joy and lightness because the world is very dark. And so this is what I found through Tai Chi sessions, through a lot of personal work, that I'm here to bring that. I'm here to bring this optimism, this joy, this lightness to people. This is my mission in life through my strengths. And this is innovation, being a scientist, and so on. So my brand, as I keep changing and innovating. I'm redoing my entire website now. I'm rethinking, but I'm innovating. I'm helping people, businesses and individuals, innovate or reinvent their life. And it can be professional, with I think Venus Genius helps, and personal also. The fact that is different is that I'm doing it because innovation, if you if you Google innovation and innovation consultants, wow, you have a lot of people. So to feel how to differentiate. My point is that I do that through the feminine lens. And again, it's not men versus women. It's really the feminine energy that we need more, I think, in this world to counterbalance the masculine energy that we also need. We need the balance. And pinch of chemistry. So in both books, this one, Venus Genius, I don't know if we can see it, but I did my little formula. Okay, I will tell you what it is. So my little formula is that for innovation, to innovate products that make sense, are meaningful and sustainable, if you practice empathy, nurturing, intuition, inclusivity, and gratitude, you catalyze that with collaboration. You get innovation that a little hot resonates emotionally with consumers, plus a dollar sign. Of course, it brings money to the bottom line. Okay, it's a twist to science, okay? But this is my differentiation. This is how I bring my message through this formula that may sound gimmicky, but people remember. And so I developed that in the book. For the new book I'm writing now, that will be published in December, so very soon. I'm just finalizing the manuscript and the cover and other stuff, which is fun. It's called Champagne and Apple Pie, Uncork Your New Life. And this is how my expatriation from France to the US in the early 90s brought me to the conclusion that some people think expatriation, and Phil, you can comment on that, is flying away, running away from your past life, starting from scratch. Everything will be peaches and cream, will be wonderful. Well, no. The real reinvention when you move to a new country is to discover who you really are with your strengths and your limitations. Because when we are in a familiar environment, we function on autopilot. But then when we are thrown, and it was in 92, and no cell phones, no internet. So it was very difficult for me as a single person to be just like thrown into this American culture I didn't know at all. And I narrate how I discovered strengths And I differentiate two types of strengths. And again, I've got a formula for that. You have your natural strengths, the ones you were born with and you acquire naturally. Then you have the aspirational strengths. And a nice way to identify them is really to look at the people you admire, the mentors. This is what you would like to have. And you can acquire that with training. And then very, very, very importantly, and for this, you may use AI, but something that is extremely powerful when we identify our strengths is to identify our passions. And the passions, AI cannot tell you what your passions are because they come from your childhood dreams. When we were a child, say, okay, oh, I wanted to be a fireman. Oh, a fireman. But was it, and the important question is why? Is it because of the gleaming truck, of the, you know, the costume and so on that will impress women, or is it because you want to save people's life? It's a totally different motivation behind that. So understanding why you wanted to do that, and what really was behind this passion is really what motivates you. So you have your aspirational strength, your natural strength, your passions, and then you need a catalyst to discover the products of my formula, which are your joy and your purpose, and they go together. Because joy without purpose doesn't make sense, and a purpose that you don't like doesn't make sense either. And I know a lot of people are talking about better, and I'm challenging in the book what better means. Because for a lot of people, better means fixing your downsides. The infamous performance evaluation, Phil. In terms of your areas of improvement, and I'm just rolling my eyes. Okay, again, you're too emotional, you smile too much, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, guys, this is who I am. These are my strengths. I'm an innovator. I get more done with my smile than you bullying people, okay? So just respect who I am. And instead of trying to fix me and fix my shortcomings so that I can be an average like everybody, let's build on my strengths and passions. This is what will make me effective, bring my unique gift, and be more effective. So I will stop here because it's a lot of talking, but I would like to hear you have any comment, if feel it illustrates well what you wanted to talk about.
Bill?
I think what's so important, and Fabienne, it would be nice if you would talk about the, like, when you moved from Paris, and then, you know, from France to the United States. What were some of the unique strengths that you had to develop that may not have been as you may not have focused on as much before, but now you had to find maybe some new ways to focus because of the audiences that you're dealing with, because of the management organization and all of that, and how you were able to, as a matter of fact, when you talk about that you can bring and conquer a situation better with a smile and with and being able to focus with that, how you were able to use that and with the other strengths that you have and capitalize on it so that you could be a successful professional.
One of the things that I learned to do that I couldn't do before moving to the US was ask for help. I wanted to control everything. I thought that, you know, I knew everything and I'm a scientist and I'm smart, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, of course. And then you arrive and I have anecdotes, stupid anecdotes, but again, no internet, nothing. And I'm in the store and I have no clue about how to pick a pantyhose because I don't know what pounds and inches and feet are. And I'm just like stupid facing the shelf. And suddenly there's this young lady next to me and in France, it's very personal. You don't ask people, can you, you know, tell me what my size is? And this lady was like, oh yeah, of course. And I said, okay, I can ask for help, and people are happy to help. So this was one of the personal things I discovered. Hey, that's fine. Ask for help. People are happy to help, and it makes you a better human being. So vulnerability. Vulnerability is something I learned. In terms of the typically American skills I acquired and that helped me personally, but very importantly, professionally, is the win-win concept and the collaboration. As French people, I'm sure you saw that, Phil, when you were in France. The French culture is really I win, you lose. So it's more win-lose. It's very hierarchical, you know, and I'm the boss, I know. The health system, I was amazed here how doctors explain to you what they're doing and so on, and they give you options and you choose together. And I was in France, it's okay, I'm the doctor, I'm the big boss, I tell you, and they use the jargon, you don't understand anything. And to me, discovering that no, there is a win-win attitude, and by collaborating, we are better. I really improved my professional aspect because I was smart. I've got a PhD in chemistry. I know, you know, like to focus. This is nice. I was the next Marie Curie, like, right. However, what I learned here is that when you collaborate with especially very diverse people, you bring your own thinking to the next level. So this helped me a lot in my professional life, and it also helped me in my personal life, as I was saying, to dim this bison image I had and to show myself as I was. So in both, and this in parallel, you know, because we are who we are and we should bring that to work. So it helped me balance the assertive and so on, and the solitary, very focused, very effective, with this more collaborative and this more vulnerable personality, and again, be more balanced, be more centered, and be more effective at work. Does it answer your question?
No, no, that's great. I'll let others ask some questions. I have
Yeah.
another one that I'd like to ask, if it's okay, Ed. When Fabienne, when in coming to the United States, what was and then now you've decided to stay in the United States for a period of time, uh, and I don't know if you're gonna ever go back or whatever, but what is it that made you, and let me use myself as a personal example for a second. When when I even though I traveled to and worked in 60 countries around the world, when I moved abroad to Paris, it left on myself and my family a profound influence on us. And when I went back to the United States, I wasn't the same anymore. And I stayed a few more years. I guess I stayed, well, I say maybe 5 more years, and then I decided to go off and start my own business. But it was because I was enlightened based on the experience that I had living abroad, and that really made me a new person. And so when you think about yourself and where you are right now, and maybe others who also, who your friends, people, associates who have moved, what is the learning there that's impacting your future, your present and your future?
You know, I'm a rebel, so I always challenge things. I don't think we change. I think we uncover facets of our personalities and ourselves that were hidden. When we are in our home country, again, we are in on autopilot. We know the ropes, we know everything, we just go, and we have a lot of skills, but we don't need to use them because, you know, we function like that. And then suddenly, to your point, you are not in the US anymore. You go to France, to Paris, and you discover a new culture, and wow, and you discover aspects of your personality that you didn't know before because they were, again, muted, but they were still there. I don't think we really changed fundamentally, but I think we evolve, and we discover again new facets, new traits of our personalities that we didn't know. If it does make sense, Phil, does it make?
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So what motivated me? Um, I was in France and I was a PhD in organic chemistry again. I was hired by a French company. I was in R&D, research and development, and life was very wonderful and so on. And I was like, okay, I did that. I'm very happy. I want to move to marketing. My boss is like, you what? I'm sorry, Fabienne, but doctor, you stay here. And I was like, but I want to know. No, 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 no. You stay here. Okay. And then, as you know, Phil, this French company was acquired by Henkel and Colgate. And I had a proposal from Colgate that I accepted. After 2 years, no, just after that, they asked me because I wanted to move also internationally. One of my childhood dreams was I want to go to America. Un jour, j'irai en Amérique. I was 5 years old. One day I will go to America. Everybody was laughing. Yeah, sure. I had that. I don't know. It was, I'm sure, after the Second World War, my parents were, very grateful for Americans. So you had the American dream, I think, but it was in me. It was in me all the time. I wanted to move to America. So it was first that. And second, so I moved to R&D with for Colgate in Piscataway, New Jersey. And I narrate it was like an interesting move. It was fun. And I learned a lot. And then after 2 years, I went to the top of the house and said, you know what, I want to move to marketing. And here the answer was, well, you know what, it would be another person who would say, go back to the bench, but you might be successful. But we'll have so we negotiated and I started from scratch. So I was in a very good position, with the corporate world, with the team and the big office and blah, blah, blah. And I started as assistant product manager in marketing. It was tough, but I learned. And my objective was really to learn innovation from the beginning to the end. I knew what was happening between the molecules in the beaker. I wanted to understand better how this affected the consumer, how they would pick that product and enjoy it. So to me, this was my objective. This is what was exciting me. And I remember very well a mentor I had at Colgate. And he was a wonderful mentor, and he understood who I was. And when I tried to move from technology to marketing, it was not that easy. And I consulted. I went to headhunters. Everyone said, no, 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 you will ruin your career. No, 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 don't do that. And then my mentor, when I shared that with him, he asked me the question. He said, Fabienne, in your career, do you want power or fun? Knowing me, I didn't hesitate. He said, so then do it. Because you will have fun, you will discover, you will learn, this is you. But if you want power, you stay where you are. Because if you leave technology, you will not be on top of science anymore. And you are joining marketing without all the, late, and the others have the benefit of their education, of a lot of training and some that you don't have. And you will never be a good marketer or a good scientist anymore. And he was right, but I was a good innovator and I was happy. So this is what motivated me, because the US, and in the book I interviewed the new book, Champagne and Apple Pie, and it interviewed a lot of people. And all the French people I interviewed who moved to the US all said the same thing. Why did you move? Opportunities. And the US is the land of opportunities. I think you may not realize that because you live here. But it's open. You can do things if you really want. And you are recognized by the value you bring, and not by your title or whom you know and so on. So this is really what motivated me, this, plus the fact that here, and especially in Charleston, South Carolina, I walk in the street, say, hey, hi, how are you doing? And so on, hey, honey. And I love that. People say superficial. I don't care. It makes my life happier when I see smiling people who say hello in the street, rather than people going, hey, it's Monday, another day. And you know that attitude in Paris.
When we talk, that was wonderful, and I like the point that you made about how you discover things. Like with change, it's really about maybe discovering some aspects of you that you would maybe want to put more emphasis on or explore more, and a matter of fact, I think that also is something, it resonates with me because it helps to also explain why when I was reporting to the CEO of the company. And then when I told him that I wanted to leave, and he said, well, you know, look, maybe we can give you a method, Paul, especially you and can appreciate this. When people are leaving a company, then what they want to do is they want to give you more shares of stock and all that kind of stuff. And I said, look, I know the game that we're going to be going through because I've done it to keep a lot of people who are chief operating officers. And if you think that the only thing I'm telling you about my move is that I want to get more money, then you don't understand who I am and what's important to me. So I think you really helped to bring that alive, in terms of why I left and decided to go. So
Thank you.
let me
That's
let others talk.
Yeah,
Thank you.
John Verrico, welcome.
Hey there, it's great to see everybody. Fabienne, you made a really brilliant point when you were talking about making that transition from doing the science to going to marketing and understanding kind of the, how things translate to the real world. Why would people be interested in it? I worked in public affairs, in research and development for many years. And the biggest challenge we had was getting the scientists and engineers and the people who were doing the innovation to be able to translate why it was important, what it would mean to people, and how it could be used. And I think that's the most critical thing when we're trying to brand anything, is to make sure that people understand how it can be helpful or what it actually does. So let me ask you this side, when you were in that position, how were you able to convince the people who were doing the research to translate that stuff into, usefulness and utility for the general public? Like, how will this product make a difference for people, not just because you're doing it?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you for your question because it's very close to my heart. So first of all, the other dreams I had when I was a kid, I wanted to be a translator. I never became a translator. However, when I moved from technology to marketing, I did become a translator. I was a translator between the scientists and the marketers.
Mm-hmm.
So when we would work on a concept, and even if the concept was crazy, the scientists, they trusted me because I knew what was behind. And when I was talking to the scientist about a new concept, they say, okay, that's fine. So first of all, this helped a lot that you need liaisons. You need people that both parties, because, when I moved from technology to marketing, some people, oh, you're going to the enemy. Oh God. But
Isn't that true though in the scientific world? If you popularize science, you're kind of like you're ostracized
Exactly.
by the rest of the scientists.
Absolutely. So you have the scientists, you have the marketers and silos, and they don't talk. So first of all, the fact that I bridged that was very helpful, I think. And then Phil, it will be music to your ears and bringing back to your formula. I use storytelling. And this was so powerful. So I had a consultant who is a very close friend now, actually, and who is a marvelous storyteller. And I invited the scientists with their technologies, and I will give you an example. So we were building a structured formula for a body wash. And the structure was to hold the beads, the little beads, visible beads that we had there. And the marketers, oh, why do we need that? They didn't really get the benefits and so on. And then, I remember it was an Asian guy. I say Asian because he was very shy, not outspoken and so on. But he was brilliant. And the lady, the consultant in storytelling, will say, okay, let's imagine a story to explain that. So the guy started to say, you know what? I was in a marsh and there was some moving sand and so on. And I was about to sink. And then somebody threw this net over and I could walk and so on and go on the other side. You see your formula. If you don't have this very expensive ingredient to hold the beads, it will fall and so on. oh, and suddenly the marketer said, ah, okay, now I get it. So a small example, but this is how we started, to translate and have the scientists be able to express through storytelling what the technology could do for the marketing and for the concept. But another way I initiated later on, Phil, when I was in the US, was when we were working on a project. I started with a multifunctional team. So you had the scientists. We call that, the rapid prototyping, and it was really in 4 days. So in 4 days we had a concept, and we had some routes for technology, some options. So you had the scientists, you had the marketers, but also safety people, legal, financial. All the people were for 4 days, and we were building together the concepts. We had the prototypes, and you had consumers come in at night and give us the feedback, and we were iterating and so on until we had a prototype at the end. It was a miracle in terms of communication. I remember very vividly a scientist telling me, wow, the concept is so difficult to write. I thought you just, put the words on the paper. And then when we were preparing the prototypes to be shown to the consumers, the marketer was saying, you have to do all that to create one sample? Oh my God, I will think now twice before asking you to have the sample for yesterday. So you see, being able to experiment, again, it's like storytelling, experiment what the job of the others was. And this is where the American way of working, collaboration, and working together helped a lot. Does it answer your question, John?
Yes, thank you very much. Exactly where I was thinking you had an advantage because you came with a science background and they trusted you that you would translate it correctly. I came from a communication background and I was trying to translate this stuff and they would push back and go, "No, you're simplifying it too much." I'm like, they just didn't trust me enough. I mean, I was successful at it, but, for many years, but breaking in was very, very challenging, and convincing them that it needed to be done was the hardest part. And mostly what we did through storytelling was we would share, hey, look what your colleague was able to do because he was able to translate it this way. And so we can do that for you too. And that's how it was. It was challenging, but it's so true. Storytelling that's what we relate to. That's how we get through it.
Yeah.
Here-
And then there's another, just to build on that, there is another one, role playing. And I use that. My last years at Colgate, I was in external innovation. So we were bringing external technologies, especially from startups and very small companies, to the scientific world of Colgate. And imagine the pushback I had at the beginning. It was like, oh, you mean we don't know what we're doing and we need external help, and for these small businesses? Oh, well, yeah, I heard it. And so what I did, I used role playing. So I had a script, and one was the Colgate script, the scientist, and the other one was this startup. And they heard the script, they didn't know what it was, and then we play the roles that you meet at a conference, and this startup is pitching, the Colgate person and so on. I'm telling you, it was, again, a miracle, because people suddenly, oh yeah, I understand, you have different interests. Oh yeah, so they have the technology. They will accelerate actually my research, and it will help me. So it was role-playing, storytelling, again, the human aspect.
It's amazing when that little light goes on, right? Thank you.
Sorry, Ed.
No,
You
it's okay.
actually-
I'm learning. So there are two others here who tell wonderful stories, and that's Dr. Ken Lloyd and Paul Falcone. Paul, you're speechless, huh?
There we go. When I
Oh,
get
there you go.
compared to Ken Lloyd, it just stops me in my tracks. I know, when you're with the master there, Ed, it's good. No, it's Ken. Great to see you. The funny thing for me, Fabienne, is that being a coach, being an executive coach, and raising awareness about personal branding, people don't think about it. Oftentimes, they make their way through their career. And what I do is I just draw a simple circle, and I cut it in half, put a line through the middle, and in the top half of the circle, I write the word performance. And in the bottom half of the circle, I write the word conduct. or behavior, either word, conduct or behavior. Most people are so focused on the top half of the circle that they get through their careers successfully, but they're not giving the appropriate level of career introspection about their brand. What you're talking about is what CEOs are talking about in all these surveys. What is it that they're looking for? They want emotional intelligence. They want empathy. They want creativity and innovation. They want accountability. They want the ability to lead through crisis, what they call managing compound volatility. All of those key things that they want in their leaders are in the bottom half of that circle. But you would be surprised how many people go through their careers just worrying about the top half of the circle. And I think when you can use a simple tool on the back of a napkin or the back of an envelope, it's funny how all of a sudden it raises awareness and they become much more open to what is my elevator pitch? When I walk out of the elevator and the door closes behind me, there are 4 people behind me in that elevator now talking about me. And do they say, oh, that's Paul Falcone, he's been here for the last 3 years as the CHR? Is the next word out of their mouth and? Or is it but? Is it and? He's wonderful. You should get to know him. I've never spent time with him that I didn't walk away with great ideas. Or is it but you might want to cut a white swath around him? He's difficult to deal with and you never know what's going to set him off. And these little tips and these little tricks, I think, fall perfectly to me, Fabienne, into how to raise awareness about what personal branding is and how to help people become more conscious of it. So I love the work you're doing. It's fabulous. Congratulations on the new book.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm very excited about it.
Ken?
Wow, I think it's great to have someone at the level of Paul Falcone tell stories about you. So, Paul, thank you.
You're welcome.
Fabienne, this was so interesting. My bias mindset is that I think having a scientific, technical background is great for marketing, because marketing shouldn't be, oh, I have an impression, I have an idea, seat of the pants, we tried this before, it worked, as opposed to a mindset that is focused on, let's be serious, let's be analytical, let's do some studies here, let's not just jump into this, let's review what we're doing. That kind of mindset, because marketing is not just advertising jingles. People think, oh, marketing, advertising. Marketing is an entirely different construct. And I think your kind of scientific contributions and mindset in approaching the field really come out as a strength. So I would think, well, if we could get a solid technical analytical person into the marketing role, we get the best of both worlds. Because obviously your creativity, your spirit comes through very, very clearly. That you, what was it, a bison, and then the
Honeybee.
yeah.
A honeybee.
But the honeybee, yeah. But I don't see the stinger, which is good. So
I'm not let's say what is the other one? The stinging one, the wasp. I'm not a wasp. I'm a honeybee.
yeah, focus more on the honey. That's exactly right. Yeah, it's just an excellent presentation today, and I really do like the aspect of storytelling as a concept. Years ago, I wrote a book with Dr. Donald Moyne, and we were studying salespeople, the most successful ones. The most successful persuaders, if you will, use storytelling. It's visual, it's memorable. Hey, let me tell you a story about this. Just hearing that, oh, as opposed to saying, here are the 6 reasons why you do it, I can put in a story about someone I knew who was in a position just like yours. Let me tell you what happened when it's a whole different approach. The storytelling is wonderful. And again, people enjoy them and they're memorable. You'll remember the points far more easily in a story than if you just, here they are, take them. So anyhow, I think the overall presentation that you made today is very helpful, very important. And I do like Philip's as well. Philip, love the notion of what value do you add with all the analysis that you're doing. Now, what's your unique value proposition? And make sure you understand that. So to me, that's all very, very helpful. And that's today's story.
Yeah. John Verrico, thank you for your participation. Paul Falcone, thank you. I understand you have to leave. Come on back and tell us about what's happening in the boardroom at Amicon, if you can.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for you. Fabienne,
One and all,
tout,
just
tout
terrific.
alors.
Hey, how many decades, Phil? We won't say.
Yeah, right.
I
A long
really,
time.
I really thank you all for being on Global TV Talk Show. You'll all get a copy of this program later in my day today. In my day today, starting at 5 p.m. California time, it's going to be tomorrow morning in Asia Pacific, and we're doing a Hello Asia Pacific broadcast. And you're welcome to join us. We have an interesting group there. Let me know, send me a quick email, and I'll flash you the Zoom link. But thank you, Fabienne. Nice to meet you. Why don't you hold up the cover of your book again for the camera? There it is, Venus Genius. Now, did you come up with that name or did you outsource that?
Brainstorming. I brainstorm with my friends, and this is how it came up. Same thing for the champagne and apple pie. At the beginning, I had champagne and Coca-Cola, and then I could get the rights from champagne. Coca-Cola never answered, so we had to find an alternative, and we brainstormed. But when somebody came with apple pie, I say, apple pie is not American. I say, what? And I say that in the book. When you are not born there, I didn't know this 1975 Chevrolet advertising. I had no clue. And so everyone would say, yeah, champagne and apple pie. This is okay. So this is how it. And somebody, I had reinvent your life, and somebody say, no, uncork your new life. I said, oh yes. So brainstorming.
Yeah.
Brainstorming is
That was it.
a solution to a lot of things.
I've never had champagne and apple pie.
Yeah, I think we'll have to have a meeting to toast that in, Fabienne.
Oh yes. Oh, believe me. Oh, believe me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Fabienne, you can
right.
Ed Cohen, he's very open, with his meetings. So you should feel free to join any of the sessions when he sends you information on that, and just like he's doing now.
And
He's very
I really
welcoming.
enjoyed, the fact that it's okay. I don't know if you will see that, but it's
Champagne and apple pie. There it is. Uncork your new life.
I was
Yeah.
one of the reviewers on her
See, yeah, you're on
on
my
the cover and
newsletter, so
everything.
you could
So
vote. People love that when they vote on cover options. Oh, this is a great thing in the author community.
exactly.
Thank you for helping.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mark
Thank you so
Colo,
much.
thank you for your time. Mark Colo, would you
Ken,
like to
thank
say
you.
something?
Yeah, I just wanted
Mes
to
amis,
leave
à
one,
bientôt.
Okay,
I
à bientôt.
À
I
bientôt.
want to leave two jokes for the audience. Fabienne, did I pronounce that closely enough? All right. You talked about laughter and humor, and you touched on that. And I think it's important in any interaction that you have laughter between yourselves. And I like to joke about my condition because I've had Parkinson's now for 20 years. And I'm able to tell some pretty difficult to tell normally jokes that for anyone else to say, but I can say it because I know it and I've had it. So what do you call a javelin thrower who has Parkinson's disease?
No.
Okay? Shakespeare.
Oh. I like that.
Brilliant.
All right, I love that one. Here's one more. I was in the moving and storage industry for 50 years. In that whole career, I never once thought I could think of myself as a mover and a shaker.
Oh.
That's brilliant.
But thank
Mark,
you for sharing, Mark, because it's I appreciate that because again, you can when you are in pain, you can roll and and just complain, or you can just be yourself and to your point and laugh about it and laugh with people.
Exactly.
That's so true. All right, I'll share the other ones with you at a later date.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you so
I
much, Mark.
look for other sessions.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. And Fabienne, I look forward. I'll be talking to you by and by for sure.
Absolutely, and thank you,
Okay.
Ed, for having me. I really appreciate being able to share my passion and with this type of people who are so open, and that I love that. I love this type of crowd.
I
Yeah,
will invite you to many opportunities, and I hope you
Appreciate
come. Thank you all for joining me in
Okay.
what I affectionately call the global meeting room. Where
Mhm.
else could it happen at no cost to anyone?
Exactly. Yeah. Thanks very much, Ed, and thank you for arranging it all too.
Yeah.
I,
And thank
I,
you for
care.
the introduction, Phil.
Okay, no, definitely.
Talk
Okay.
soon.
I'll
I
toot
love
along.
And
I love
remember,
doing this.
guys, don't behave. It's boring.
And with that,
Yeah, with
ciao,
that, yeah.
ciao, ciao, ciao.